Welcome to the Living Elan podcast, where we help you reclaim your confidence and energy through taking control of your wellness. I'm Paige Hope.
And I'm Tracey Vlahos. Join us for quick chats on wellness, personal growth, hormone regulation, and more. Welcome back to another podcast of Living Elan. Now, I am here once again with the incredible Paige Hope. And I have to tell you, I've been really excited about this particular podcast. And I want to pause to say this one is all about women and protein. And how much protein do you need? What is this importance of protein? And really just paying attention to protein, because it is all about our skin health, our hair health, our hormones, and our metabolism, and really our muscle and skeleton health. I mean, there couldn't be, no matter what age, there's so much science out there around protein. And even though I have always thought I was really paying attention to my protein, but Paige, can I tell you, again, when I met you, you really had me focus on protein a lot, because it was you. And I want you to share a little bit here, because we're both going to be sharing so much about protein, making sure women get enough in. But you were like, oh, I have to get my 30 grams of protein in this meal. Like, you were like, no, I have to make sure that my breakfast has this. My snacks have this. And even though I really thought these things, it was you. And even at one point, she looked at me, you were like, I think you need to focus on more protein, Tracey. And I thought, what? Me? So it doesn't matter your background, education. These are the things that you're constantly learning. And I thought, if I needed to hear this and I needed to focus, I believe that the listeners right now, you need to hear this and focus. And I will tell you, in the last few months, my skin looks better. People have said things to me. And I also believe even my muscle tone and my sleep, so we're going to talk about it, it is really around that rest and protein. I'm going to have to be really honest. So Paige, can I first thank you? And I don't even know if you knew this, how much you had me focus on protein and why this particular podcast was important. And I couldn't wait for the both of us to do it together.
Tracy, that makes me so happy, number one, because I do remember sitting down with you saying, wait, that's all the protein you need? No, let's load this up. Let's get more. Because I will say, though, it's been such a vital role in my life for so long. And I think for me, especially, learning how it helps stabilize my blood sugar. I don't know if all of you guys listened to an episode earlier. This was probably one of our early ones, but I was talking about how I really did have some issues going on with my ghrelin levels. And I always laugh because Tracey reminds me, it's like gremlins. Just think they're little gremlins. And my levels were off. And sometimes we'll go through moments where we have to focus on other things, but protein is always one that I'm focused on because it helps me stay fuller longer. I, of course, love wellness. We know how important it is for our hormones, our thyroid, even our immune system, and getting the right type of protein in. And I always just say, get protein at every meal. Whatever you can do, protein at every meal. And no, that does not mean you're going to Costco getting those premier proteins with all of the garbage in them. That is not what we're talking about here. I know there's the TikTokers that are like, this is how I'm getting 30 grams of protein in every meal. And I'm looking at these and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's got to be doing more harm than good at this point. So those are some things we're also going to cover, as well as the right types of protein, our personal favorite snacks, how we are actually getting in all of our protein. And I'm interested, Tracey, to see how you've been making those small scooches as well, because listen, we all fall a little bit back sometimes, and getting back on the wagon is all it takes.
Oh, absolutely. Like when you said that about like, oh, that's all the protein. And I thought to myself, I'm getting plenty of protein in. Because when this journey really started, I wanted to share with everybody, for those who are new to this, I'm 52, but when I was 29 years old, I started lifting weights, and not to be a bodybuilder or anything, but because I really wanted strength. I really just understood. So I was working with someone, and I was just so blessed that I found him and his wife. And they owned this little nutrition store. It was like in this little strip mall. And he said to me, are you willing to add more protein in your life? If this is something that you want to do and you want to add more muscle tone, if you want more energy, if you want your skin and nails, because I was just sharing some things with him, right? I was exhausted, I was tired, there was some things going on. He was the first person that many years ago that had me really focus on protein. But when I go back to something you just said, Paige, is let's see here, that's been, 23 years ago. Would that be right? I think so. 23 years ago is the type of protein. Can I just pause to say, first of all, that when we talk about protein, and we will get more into this, is like when you're buying like a protein shake, not saying that you can't, but when you turn over and you read the ingredients and you see all the gums, all the fillers, all the artificial, from the sucralose, just so many different things, you've got to realize that yes, you're getting protein in, but I want you to get quality protein in. And so as my journey started, because I used to drink those protein shakes in the morning, and I still have some protein shake now, and I'll share with everybody how I incorporate it in. But because of my education, I have upgraded what I say, learning how to upgrade my protein, what that looked like, making sure that I wasn't, because adding all those harmful chemicals and different things were actually causing more harm than good, right? They're depleting our muscles. They're stripping us from our minerals. They're causing inflammation in our body. And here we are, we're downing them thinking, oh, I just got my 25, 30 grams of protein in. When in actuality, I understand that, but you're doing more harm. Those things are actually affecting the aging, affecting your hormones. So this is going to be about how to get that protein in, but we also want you to have quality protein, because I know a lot of people are confused out there. It can be so confusing in the marketplace, and I understand it. And I hope this particular episode, and won't be our last on protein without doubt, takes that confusion out. So I do want to start with that, first of all. So I think here that Paige and I have really talked to you about, protein, no matter age, is super important. It also, you heard Paige talk about that it levels out her ghrelin, right? Because you have so many different hormones and things in you. There are foods that you eat that raise your insulin, that raise your ghrelin levels up, makes you more hungry. Now it is throwing off your hormones, okay? That I want you to understand that what you're eating, you want to be able to balance your hormones. You want to be able to have it soothing for your body. And you actually want to be able to then produce leptin. And leptin is what keeps us fuller longer. But I'll tell you, it is protein, eating quality protein. You heard Paige say, fuller longer. I feel better. I have more energy, because it's not spiking your insulin levels. I always say how you break your fast. If you think of the word breakfast and you break it into two words, it's break fast. So I don't care if that breaking fast has been 6 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours, whatever that is, whenever you break it, you're talking to your body. Imagine your little cells in your body, they haven't had food for hours. You're feeding them, okay? And you're speaking to them. You are going to set the tone for the day. So many women say to me, oh, I'm having a granola bar, because when they bought the packaging, it probably even said whole grain, 7 grams of protein in this granola bar. Okay. Then they'd say, well, I'm having yogurt too. I mean, Tracey, I have protein in there and that's good for my gut.
Well, all I just have to say is it doesn't have to be hard to get 30 grams of protein in a meal. And when we say 30 grams, that might sound like a lot to a lot of people, but the more and more research you do about women with hormonal challenges, which, let's be real, the numbers are increasing. These are the statistics coming out. Women really should be striving to get 30 grams of protein per meal. And there's a lot of different ways that you can do this, but I urge you to look at those ingredient labels. But where I go with breakfast, and I was just telling Tracey this via audio message this morning, is swapping my breakfast to some sort of organic chicken sausage and sweet potato hash, because I actually have to step a little bit away from eggs right now. I do have a little eczema flare up. And so that tells me something is going wrong internally. And so we're removing eggs right now, and eggs are not bad by any means. In fact, I will bring them back once I can get my gut lining healed and all of that stuff. Just do pasture raised eggs, Quick shout out to Vital Farms. But Anyway, so there's things that you can do. And so what I do is you just meal prep your meat and your hash. It's super, super easy. Have that, boom, put it in the oven to quickly heat it up or just on the stove, whatever you want to do. And that is so quick and easy, and it keeps me full for a very long time. So I'm actually excited to go back to that routine that I did earlier. Get some avocado in there. I try to have a very balanced, macro friendly meal, which is going to be, we've got the fats, we've got the carbs, and we've got the protein, because it is your first meal. Now, so many
Yes.
people, especially in the fitness community, are just doing a full cup of egg whites. And it's like, that's the protein that they're getting, but there's no quality fats in there that are also helping your hormones. Women need good, healthy fats. So that is just where my thought went, Tracey, because a lot of our people, I know we have different
Yes.
audiences, and that's what's so fun about sharing both of our experiences, are we don't have a lot of people eating, those granola bars on the go. My people are like so focused on macros that they're afraid to get those quality carbs and quality fats in.
See, that's what I love, is just what you said. And for me, like I had a lot of women who were like, oh, I've got 12, 15 grams of my yogurt. I've got another 9 or 10 in this granola bar. I'm getting 25 grams. What they didn't realize when you start reading those labels is that really the sugars were higher than the quote unquote protein that you read on the front and that little circle, because that's the marketing on it. The yogurt actually was filled with a lot of fruits and sugars, even though it had the 12 grams of protein and you thought you were getting 25. I want to reiterate what Paige said. It's about getting quality. So think about it. It is the first thing that happens in the morning. Are you spiking your insulin, or are you talking to your body and saying, I'm going to flood you with good quality protein. I'm going to set those hormones for the day. And I am really big on fats. I am definitely an avocado girl. I love coconut butter. I'll have a scoop of it, even just a tablespoon a day, because it's so good for my skin, hair, nails. And if you could see this, if you're listening on Apple, Paige is smiling because when she first met me, I literally pulled out a jar of coconut butter and she's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to have a scoop of it right now, because I know getting quality fats, good fats. We're not talking seed oils. I'm not talking about omega 6s. I'm talking about the omega 3s that are really good in combination with protein, that's going to help with your skeletal health. It's going to help actually with your heart, because some of you, like right now, I understand if you're in your 30s, starting getting your early 40s, right? You're not thinking about this, but heart health in women, because we don't add enough protein, our hormones are off, right? That we have a higher percentage of heart attacks. We need to be able to be starting to think about this right now. So for myself, I'm paying a really close attention to this. And I know Paige is so good about this. And here she is going, no, I'm making sure my health is now, so that as I, right, age, I'm aging gracefully. So Paige, I want to go back to what you said. Now, I want to also say, you heard her talk about like the sausage and the meats and things. Now, I know she gets nitrate free. Again, we're talking about quality protein
Yes.
that she's getting in there. For myself, two things are going to happen. There's lots of times. I have a very good friend, for example. She'll buy a whole organic chicken. She literally loves taking chicken she'll go on Sunday, go to the store, cut it up, and avocado, because in the morning, she'll heat it up and maybe she does a little bit of sweet potato, because that's that good carb that you talked about, Paige. She's going to have her good organic chicken, right? It's warm. She loves it. I mean, all of us do breakfast for dinner. Why can't we do dinner for breakfast? And she's getting some avocado. It fuels her body. And this girl has so much energy, and she's my age, but she's always paid attention. And for myself as well, I may have something the night before that I pull out. And if I'm super on the go, then I will say I will have a shake in the morning that's a really good quality protein shake. I put my MCT oil in it, so I'm having that good fat. I'm putting a scoop of fiber in it, because I know that's how good it is for my digestion, and making sure that I'm making it really that if I'm quick and easy, but I'm not just grabbing one of those pre-mixed ones that are just full of fillers that are not good for our body. But I want you to pay attention of how you break your fast. Matter of fact, I've even created a PDF that has 4 different breakfast recipes in it. So I always say, whether you want to shake, whether you want to eat it with a fork, maybe a spoon, because so many people, I just want to just pause to say that they'll have overnight oats. And I don't mean to like bust your bubble, but that is basically a sugar bomb. Those oats only convert to insulin, right? You're raising your insulin, you're shutting off then your metabolism, some different things, you're throwing off your hormones.
If you are going to eat oats, especially if you get protein in with it, just make sure you are getting, I think it's red mills or some sort of organic. You want to make sure your oats are organic. And the main reason for this is because oats are sprayed with glyphosate. And that is very, very bad for you. It's a big reason why I don't do gluten here in the US, whereas I just got back from Italy and I could eat all the gluten I wanted out there because the chemicals are what kind of destroys my gut, and that's where you get the bloat. So if you love your oats, that could be a quick swap for you. Of course, get your protein in with it, but just be mindful and try to go organic when possible with all of that stuff.
And don't get instant oats. Like go ahead and get the raw, real oats that you're going to have to cook a little bit longer. Maybe make them into, you put in your crock pot or wherever, and you're just having to be able to heat that up a little bit. But can I also say there's so much research out there is if I am going to have, let's say, some oats or something, you put some cinnamon on it. Maybe you put a tablespoon of coconut oil, not coconut butter. I guess you could, right? Because you're adding some good fats to it. You're putting some cinnamon or doing whatever. Protein first. You already have a protein in. Your blood sugar levels doesn't spike as high. They are then more balanced out. You can use that in your muscles and have that longer energy.
I don't have anything else for breakfast, but I do want to share a few things convenience factor wise that I personally like, some of the brand recommendations on other snacks and meals, because I have been also on the go running low on fury. I don't have time to make my meals. Are you kidding me? I'm eating my meal while on the phone with Tracey earlier today.
Yes.
And I have to be really, really quick. So I'm going to give you an example of what I did this week. And it was just really, really easy. One, quick snacks, chomps. So I do not typically recommend beef jerky because anything processed like that, but chomps, grass-fed, grass-finished, organic, you can get them at Sprouts, Costco. Gosh, now they're kind of everywhere. I just saw them at our local store. They're going everywhere. And I really love their founder's story. You know, I'm all about supporting those founders. So Chomps is awesome, but there's definitely more like that if you go to more of your health grocery store. So just make sure it's grass-fed, grass-finished, no added sugar, and those are perfect. I have one of those in my bag at all times. Tracey can confirm.
Yes, she does. She'll pull it right out. She's like, I need my Chomps. I need to get some protein in. I need to keep moving. And I completely agree with that. I love Chomps. Now, I get the turkey ones. She loves the beef, right? So we're going to talk about that. Like, this is a good segue to say that Paige gets most of hers in through beef and things. Again, I myself love fish and turkey and some chicken.
I think the consistency factor, like I personally like beef. Like I like the taste of it better. And so if I have that sitting in my fridge, I can eat that over and over again. I cook a massive amount of beef at the beginning of the week. I cook it in two separate things. I season one pan with one thing, season the other pan with another, so that I, cycling different lunches and dinners. And then I can eat that over and over again. Now with chicken, I cannot eat that the day after. It's just disgusting to me. And my body really likes red meat. Like it does well. Anyways, now I'll get back really quickly to a couple of my other just little snacks and tips and all of that stuff. So get your chops. And then I just want to give a plug to Just Ingredients. And I don't always drink protein powder, but when I am on the go, like traveling, things like that, I know Tracey has a code. We'll leave that in the show notes.
Yes.
But I really like them because I trust the source. So if I'm strapped for time and I don't have the ability to get real food, which I'm always going to be a food first person, always try to get the animal protein, but it's still a really good alternative. So they also sell like little packs. So if you're traveling, it's so great. And I travel a lot. So I can get those little packs. Tracey's a girl that likes to put everything in little Ziploc baggies. And she's like, and I'm like, no, I need it simpler than that. Give me the pack. I'll open it, disperse, all of that. So that's another really quick one. And then I am gluten-free and dairy-free. Again, you guys all know my hormones. It just works best for me. Granted, though, I will just sidebar and say I also could eat dairy in Italy. It is just so crazy that I cannot eat it in the US. Everyone should go research that. Like our cows here, everything is just flooded with hormones. And that's another reason why grass fed, grass finished is so important. You want animals to roam. We do not want to be putting hormones into our bodies. I used to not care about this until I actually learned what is happening. We shouldn't be feeding cows corn, and I'll leave it at that.
Corn, hormones to beef them up, right?
Yeah.
And we are also talking about either turkey, you know, whether it's fish or seafood or beef, we're also talking about grass fed or wild caught. Like I really do the best I can. I know when I go to dinner that not every restaurant has that, but it's what you do most of the time that matters, not sometimes. So never think all or nothing. Maybe you start scooching up like, oh, you thought to yourself, oh, I do eat beef sticks. I need to start paying attention. Ooh, maybe I better get the ones that are grass fed without the nitrates. Okay. Because nitrates, I'm just going to say this is when this podcast drops, the following week is October. And October is all about breast cancer awareness prevention. And I will tell you one of the number one things working directly with the Breast Cancer Society is that nitrates are definitely one of the things that is linked to cancer. And so you think about that. And like even our, you know, I used to always do like turkey roll-ups. I'd go to the store, I'd buy the turkey because it was quick and easy. I understand that. And maybe you too. And that is a good upgrade. But then all of a sudden I was like, oh, now that I understand, and that's true research, I started buying then like the turkey and things that was nitrate free. I would get then the beef sticks, like what she was saying, nitrate free. So you can see how these are easy things. We're just educating you as a consumer to flip it over, to start upgrading, because you know what? Your quality of life and health, you're worthy to have it. And these are small things that all of a sudden, when you start making these switches, they impact you on a cellular level. I promise you, it really is not all or nothing. These are small things. So maybe this week, all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm going to better upgrade to some grass-fed hamburger, right? I need to pay attention. Who in my community, what grocery store, what farmer can I go to? Both of my grandfathers, because I grew up in the Midwest and they were farmers. I only grew up on meat that was wrapped in white paper. And they were actually out in the fields, okay, eating grass is what I'm saying. And that the first time I had to go to the store and buy actually beef that was wrapped in plastic and they looked kind of funny, even the color. I remember being a young girl, like 18, 19, going, but this looks weird. I remember opening up, I still, and even smelling it going, oh my gosh, is it bad? I don't, because I really just didn't know, right? You don't know any different. I only had meat in a deep freezer and white paper, okay?
Yeah.
So I'm just going to say that. So these are the fun upgrades. And I love what you're saying. Being prepared, taking things with you. Now, on the other hand, even though I'm definitely going to say to you, don't, I'm not saying like every day, but for me, when I was on the go, because I used to travel 40 some weeks a year. So I had the beef sticks with me. I had the protein with me, but then I had organic nuts with me because I was like, oh, Tracey, that's something that's not going to melt. They're not going to go bad in my purse. Right? It's got good fat, good fiber, some good protein. At least that was better than running to a convenience store or being in an airport grabbing something. What am I putting in my mouth? Does it have good protein? Does it have good fat? Does it have, good fiber, whatever? And most importantly, it doesn't have that list of all those bad seed oils, all those fillers, sucralose, all those bad things. So we want you to focus on protein first. Take a look at what you're doing. Now, let's talk about kind of lunch, dinner, because you just heard Paige and I say she's more focused on beef. I'm more focused on the other side. So you can see you've got to pay attention to your body. I'll be with Paige soon. And it is true. She gets her grass-fed beef.
Let's be real, everyone, just to give you guys a little insight into our lives. We're in startup mode, right? And so we are like, when we are together in person, it is nonstop working. And so there's just not extra time, but I always want to make sure that I am eating. That's very important. And I believe it should be very important for every woman. But for our hormones, we need food, everybody. We need to fuel our bodies. And so I meal prep that. But I will say, when we're together, people are going to laugh at this. She actually makes our meals. So when I go visit her, she comes and visits me, she is in the kitchen making our meals, and it's hilarious. I'm like, listen, Tracey, please cook for me. I don't like to cook, which is why I do all of my meat And then I also, at the beginning of the week, we buy carrots. I also will meal prep asparagus because to me, asparagus doesn't really taste bad the next day. And then everything else is really quick to assemble. Like Tracey got me on sweet potatoes in the oven, 400, everybody, for I usually do about 25 minutes because I like them a little burnt. It's kind of yummy when it's burnt. I put those in
So
a
crispy.
bowl. I always make some sort of a fun bowl. Everything I eat is a bowl. And it's so funny because I'm like, okay, well, one day when I do have a kid or two, I'm like, they're not going to know anything different. It's just going to be, all right, here's the bowl tonight. Here's the bowl tomorrow. Like it's just bowls. And so when you look at it that way, you just have, okay, all of your protein is made. Now maybe you're getting your cauliflower rice in there as your base. Maybe you're getting your sweet potatoes as your base. Maybe you're getting your arugula as your base or whatever the case may be. I usually just throw it all in together because I just love a good variety bowl. And that is all it takes. Tracey, I'm going to say something on this podcast that I was thinking about on my walk today. And I was like, I got to tell Tracey this because it's kind of funny.
Can't wait.
I don't fart anymore.
Uh-huh.
Like I literally don't fart now that I'm really strict on no gluten, no dairy, or certain vegetables I don't eat because they also bloat me and disrupt my digestion. But I was thinking about that today and I was like, oh my gosh, this is the hack to being a girl.
This is true. Like a lot of women will say, because I'll eventually talk about how many times a day, not a week, a day are you having a bowel movement? And can we talk about farting gas? Like I'm serious because it's speaking to your body. Now I know it's a natural thing, but there was a point in my life, it was way too much. And I thought, okay, what's going on? Now, think about those chemicals and the gas it's putting off. Think about everything. Now the lining of our gut and what it's doing. Think about the dairy. Like if I have any type of dairy now, which I will sometimes, I'm human. But can I tell you, I know my belly's going to be gassy and bloated. Hello. What is that saying to you? Tracey, make sure you're scooching it, you're crowding it out most of the time. Don't be having, and I can't tell you how many women, Paige, it's funny, that they would come to me almost like whispering, Tracey, I'm not as bloated. And can I tell you, I'm not gassy, I'm farty. And I'd be like, oh my gosh, like I didn't realize that this was going to be such a big deal.
It's amazing. And you feel sexier. When you don't fart, let's just call it what it is.
Yes.
You feel so much better. It's the hack to life, everybody. It's the hack.
Hey, it is when you can eat like this. So I love what Paige said about meal prepping. So what I'm going to do is even in the show notes, we had 3 or 4 podcasts ago, and we really talked about how to save time and money in the kitchen and grocery store and how to then meal prep for the week so that you're staying focused. Each meal is built around protein. So I can't promise. So here soon, I know Paige looked at me because I have a hack and a couple worksheets that are going to be a lot of fun. And we're going to have some great downloads for you that I help people do this because even you listening, I would notice that when I was working with people, they still was like, well, help me with that, Tracey. So I created, so it was so simple for you to pick your protein, pick your vegetable, do this easy things. I know that if I focus on protein, all 3 meals and snacks, the next thing that you know, you're getting that 100 grams or more protein in. Now, I kind of want to like wrap this up with a little bit because Paige, I get a question a lot. Well, how much protein, Tracey? Right? And again, I always like to preface and say it's not that I'm a doctor or anything. And so I'm going to say this, and I'm going to ask Paige what she does. One, it's very important. Hey, we're getting the protein in 30 grams per meal. I know that's really good for me. I know that without a doubt. It'd be great if you can get 100 grams in a day. And that really is my focus. If you're out there and you're thinking, I want to encourage you, how about let's focus on, even if you're scooching, maybe you're only getting 60 now, you scooch up to 80 and then you're scooching to 100. I'd love to see you get 100. But a lot of people that are saying, hey, Tracey, I really do want to focus. I want to release some weight, right? So let's say maybe, I don't know, maybe you're 160 pounds and you're like, oh, I'd like to be 140. Like it's really good ideal weight for me. I say, let's scooch our way to get 140 grams of protein in eventually, right? If that's what you want. Or, but that's 1 gram. So whatever your ideal weight is, because I've worked with women before going, oh, wow, that would be a lot of protein, Tracey. I want to, maybe release some weight or do some things. I go, let's focus on your ideal, but let's get you at least to 100 because I want you to have the habit. This isn't all or nothing, doesn't happen overnight. That's why we're going to focus on 30 each meal. and your snacks, get you 100, and we can help you scooch up from there. I want everybody feeling fuller longer, feeling muscular, having that skeletal health, right? We got to be protecting our heart and our hormones. So this is so important.
It is. And I would say a gram per body weight. That is what I do.
Yeah.
And even though, say, 160 sounds scary,
Yeah.
it's not when you actually start learning how to build it in every meal. I'm actually eating meat like 3 to 4 times a day. We are here to help. Send us DMs, all of the things.
Yes.
Don't forget to check out Just Ingredients.
Yes.
They have an awesome protein. If you're going to get one and you're not sure on the flavor, I'm going to throw out my favorite, which is coconut chocolate. So there you have it.
It's like a little almond joy.
It is.
I know. I'm thinking to myself, even if you throw a little more coconut with that, add some more fats to it or do whatever you need or on the go, whatever. Like, I love that. So again, this is to help you focus on every week. Our podcast is here to help you. And one, for you to be able to have the energy and confidence that you need to go out there and show up and be the best version of you. Each week, we have one scooch for you that you add into your life. We want to take that confusion out. So this week's scooch, I said it earlier, this was the bonus scooch, is how do you break in your fast? So I want you focusing on protein first, okay? So that was your bonus. So you kind of get 2 this week, but now I want you to start tracking. So this next week, let's focus on our protein. And until next time, we'll see you then.